Well, g'day Darksiders. So in the last video I showed you my kayak and the modifications that I'd done to it. This video I just wanted to show you basically how I have it set up. So once again, here's my Malibu, and generally got most of the gear I usually take. Now starting at the front, usually depending on what I'm doing, what type of fishing, or if I'm going spear fishing, I got my fins, spear gun and everything in there. Plus I usually put my hook in there so it's out of the way. Then my anchor and my with chain on it and plenty of rope. Inside the hatch here is where I keep the tackle box, so that it's out of the way. Obviously your paddle, and your leash, your paddle leash. You must make sure you got leashes for stuff, otherwise you're going to lose the stuff. In here, like I said, just my ready tackle, also fish grips, tape measure, plugs, also all sorts of things in there. My fish donger, it's good for whacking sharks on the head too when they get a bit too nosy. Just give them a thump on the nose. They don't like that, but be careful because they can thrash about around a bit. But my donger, safety equipment, life jacket. Now as you can see, this is an AS approved life jacket. There's plenty of life jackets out there on eBay. They're 30, 40, 20 bucks, right? Don't waste your time. Go out and buy yourself a government approved life jacket. I mean, it's your life on the line, right? How much is your life worth? I think it's worth friggin' 100, 200 bucks for a damn good, decent life jacket. And in some states of Australia, like Victoria, it is the law that you must have a Australian standards life jacket. In fact, I'm pretty sure they could actually fine you for not having an Australian approved one. So get a good one. There's plenty out there on the market that are designed for kayak fishermen. Come with all sorts of pockets so that you can put your knives, and everything counts in. And if you're going offshore, get yourself a damn decent radio, right? One that's waterproof, one that floats, and go to your local VMR, which is for people, Volunteer Marine Rescue, or your Coast Guard, and let them ask what channel they run on, what's the emergency frequencies, because that changes depending on where you are in Australia, right? And so that you can call them up, let them know you're going out, and when you're going to get back, and then call them up when you get back. That's the important part. Calling them when you get back to tell them you're safe and sound, because otherwise they'll think you're still out there and they might send somebody looking. That's not a bill you want. So then we go back a bit further. Obviously my rods. Now you see a lot of YouTubers, man, I get jealous, but they've worked hard for it. They've got some outrageously expensive tackle and rods and everything like that. You don't have to go out and buy that stuff straight away, right? There's reels out there that, like the Penn Slammer 3s. Wow, what a reel. I've had to play with one, but it's not in my budget for the moment. So remember to stick to your budget, right? You don't want to go out there and overextend yourself, because then you're just not going to have fun. So on that note, I run a lot of Shimano gear. So we'll start with this one here. I have a Shimano rod and reel. It's only a 5 foot, 6 foot, 6 foot. It's only a 6 foot rod. I like my rods to be a bit smaller. That way I don't have to worry about length. So this one here, and I have it rigged up with a Shimano 6000 FB. Altogether not a bad package. Handles big fish quite nicely, and she's got a bit of stiffness in it, but not too much. So that's a good rod, and I enjoy it. Now my next rod is an overhead. Now this is a Shakespeare Agility, which is made by Shimano, and there we go. Let's see if I can get a little look on it. Nice little rod, but I'm only learning how to use one of these bait casters. So don't load it up with braid just yet, because you got to learn. I've got the drag fully up on this, and I'm only casting this thing, I don't know, 10-15 meters. Sit out the backyard and practice, because you will get a lot of birds' nests with it while you're learning, so don't gear it up with good stuff. But I'm enjoying this one. It's a lot of fun. Then on the other side I have, out they come, hang on, it's hard to do with one hand, another Shimano rod and reel. Right, this is the Shimano Sienna, or Sienna, how do you say that? Sienna, I think. This is a 7 foot rod. This is my only 7 foot rod, and it's geared up with a 4000 reel on it. Very, very nice rod. This is probably my go-to rod. This is the one I use the most. Small fish, big fish. I've got this loaded up with 20-pound braid on it, and a 15-pound or 12-pound leader on it. But I love this rod. She worked, the action's smooth. It wasn't overly expensive, and yeah, I've caught some fish on this. And last but not least is one of my bigger overheads, and this is, how do you say it, my Abu Garcia. It's a GT20L there, and matched with the overhead boat rod. So this is a good rod, especially for targeting those bigger species. I've got it matched up with I believe it's 50-pound braid, and I've got to redo her again because my leader got bit off, so I'll retie it. This rod here, great for targeting those offshore species. Does it quite well. Anyway, then I'll put that back. We've got our rear hatch. Now this is safety. In here I have my baler baler bucket. It has, what's it got inside? It's got a torch, it's got a throw rope, signalling device, whistle. Then on top of that, I actually got a V sheet, which you don't require, but I got one because I can lay it out over the kayak and it floats in the water. And then, of course, sitting in there as well is my offshore flare kit. And the grey bag that is underneath it, that's a sea anchor for a 6 metre boat. So I've got that that I can use as well. Then obviously a decent net. Now, not only do I do offshore fishing, but I do a lot of fishing in across the flats, up in the rivers and the mangroves. So having a good net to get that mangrove jack is very good, because mangrove jacks are a hard fighting species. You don't want to lose the damn thing. Then of course, just a little esky. I haven't went out and splurged, obviously. Just a little one that keeps some bait chilled and your food and your drink. That's mainly just what that's for. And then, like I said, in the rear hatch, more rope and everything like that. So if I need extra anchor rope, I've got it. Or if I need a rope to tow my daughter around with, I've got one of those in there as well. So that's basically my setup that I've got, and what I go out fishing with. It's not overly expensive. I haven't spent a huge amount on my rods and everything like that, but I've got reasonably decent gear and it hasn't let me down yet. And as you get more and more into it, you might be able to save up for one of those rods or one of those reels, but this gets you out on the water, gets you fishing, gets you catching, and it's not going to break. I mean, when I first started out, I think I started out with a $10 rod and reel that I bought from a garage sale, and I think I still got it, to be perfectly honest, or the rod anyway. So you can get out there and get fishing with reasonably good gear for not a lot of coin, and that's the best thing about it. Till next time, dark side out.